Do you remember your first phone? For millions, maybe even billions of people, the answer is a Nokia. For a time, Nokia wasn't just a phone company. It was the phone company. Invincible, unstoppable. Their phones were legendary for their durability. You could drop a Nokia 3310 from a building, pick it up, and it would probably still work perfectly. And Snake, don't even get me started. It was the game that defined a generation of mobile gaming. In the early 2000s, Nokia's dominance was absolute. They held over 40% of the global mobile phone market share. Think about that for a second. Almost every other phone sold in the world was a Nokia. Their slogan, "Connecting People," wasn't just marketing. It was a reality they created. They were pioneers, pushing the boundaries of what a mobile phone could be. They introduced cameras, mobile internet, and innovative designs that made everyone else look outdated. They had the best hardware, the best distribution, and the most recognizable brand in the world. So what on earth happened? What? How did a company at the absolute peak of its power fall so far, so fast? It's a story of innovation, missed opportunities, and the brutal, unforgiving pace of technological change. This is the story of the death of Nokia. To understand Nokia's fall, we have to go back to the height of their power. It's the mid-2000s. The mobile phone market is exploding, and Nokia is the undisputed king. Their Symbian operating system was the most advanced mobile OS available. They were churning out hit after hit, from the business-focused E-series to the multimedia N-series. The Nokia N95, released in 2007, was a masterpiece. It had a 5-megapixel camera, GPS, Wi-Fi, and a powerful web browser. On paper, it was the ultimate do-everything device, a true pocket computer. It seemed like Nokia had the future firmly in its grasp. But deep within the walls of the Finnish giant, cracks were already beginning to show. The problem was that while Nokia was excellent at making hardware, their software was becoming a tangled mess. Symbian was powerful, but it was also clunky, complex, and incredibly difficult for developers to create apps for. Each new phone model required significant software tweaks, making the development process slow and inefficient. Internally, the company was bogged down by bureaucracy. Different departments competed with each other instead of collaborating. They were so focused on protecting their existing market share and their successful but aging Symbian OS that they became resistant to radical new ideas. They had their own touchscreen prototypes and App Store concepts years before their competitors, but these projects were often sidelined or canceled. They saw the future, but they were too afraid to embrace it. Then, on January 9, 2007, everything changed. Steve Jobs walked onto a stage in San Francisco and introduced the world to the iPhone. At first, Nokia executives weren't worried. They scoffed at it. The first iPhone had no 3G, no physical keyboard, a poor camera, and you couldn't even swap out the battery. By their standards, it was a flawed, overpriced toy. They believed their superior hardware and brand loyalty would protect them. They fundamentally misunderstood what Apple had created. The iPhone wasn't just a phone. It was a revolutionary user experience. Its multi-touch interface was light years ahead of anything Nokia had. And most importantly, it had the App Store. Apple didn't just build a device. They built an entire ecosystem. Suddenly, the game wasn't about call quality or battery life anymore. It was about apps, user experience, and the seamless integration of hardware and software. This was a battle Nokia was completely unprepared to fight. While Apple had one perfectly integrated operating system, iOS, Nokia was juggling multiple, incompatible versions of Symbian. Their phones started to feel old and clunky overnight. Consumers didn't care about megahertz or megapixels anymore. They cared about how easy it was to check Facebook, watch a video, or play a game. The user experience had become king, and Nokia was still living in the court of the hardware jesters. As if the iPhone wasn't enough, another challenger appeared a year later: Android. Google's open-source operating system was a game-changer. It allowed any manufacturer, from Samsung to HTC to Motorola, to create their own smartphones and compete directly with both Apple and Nokia. This created a tsunami of affordable, capable smartphones that flooded the market. Nokia was now being attacked from two fronts: the high-end, premium market owned by Apple, and the low to mid-range market being devoured by a swarm of Android devices. They were caught in the middle, and their market share began to plummet at an alarming rate. Nokia's response was a series of desperate and ultimately disastrous decisions. Instead of ditching Symbian and embracing Android, which many inside and outside the company urged them to do, they doubled down. They tried to modernize Symbian, but it was like trying to put a jet engine on a horse-drawn carriage. The core architecture was simply too old. They also worked on a new Linux-based OS called MIMO, which later became MeeGo. The Nokia N9, which ran MeeGo, was actually a fantastic phone, praised for its innovative design and slick interface. But it was too little, too late. The company was in panic mode. In 2010, they made a pivotal hire, bringing in a former Microsoft executive, Stephen Elop, as their new CEO. In a now infamous internal memo, Elop described Nokia as standing on a burning platform. He was right, but his solution was to jump from that burning platform into the freezing waters of another company's ecosystem. In 2011, Nokia announced an exclusive partnership with Microsoft, abandoning their own operating systems, Symbian and MeeGo, to exclusively use Windows Phone. This was the final nail in the coffin. The partnership was a catastrophe. Developers had little interest in creating apps for a third ecosystem with a tiny market share. Consumers, who were already flocking to iOS and Android, saw no compelling reason to switch to Windows Phone. The app gap was a chasm that could never be closed. Nokia's beautiful hardware, which was still some of the best in the industry, was crippled by an unpopular operating system. Sales collapsed. The company that had once been a symbol of national pride in Finland was now losing billions of dollars every quarter. The end came in 2013, when Microsoft announced it would acquire Nokia's Devices and Services division. The king was dead. The company that had connected a billion people, that had defined an entire era of technology, was no more. Its phone business was swallowed whole by the very company it had bet its survival on. It was a tragic end to an incredible story. So what are the lessons from Nokia's spectacular fall? It's a classic tale of the innovator's dilemma. Nokia was so successful with its existing business model that it failed to adapt to a disruptive new one. They were a hardware company in a world that was rapidly becoming software-driven. They were a fragmented, bureaucratic giant trying to compete with nimble, focused upstarts like Apple and Google. They focused on incremental improvements to their existing products instead of taking the bold, risky leaps required to lead the next revolution. They had the talent, the resources, and even the foresight to see what was coming. But corporate inertia and a fear of cannibalizing their own success paralyzed them. Today, the Nokia brand lives on, licensed to another company that makes solid Android phones. But it's just a shadow of its former self. The story of Nokia serves as a powerful warning to every successful company. No matter how big you are, no matter how dominant your position, you are never safe. In the world of technology, the only constant is change, and if you fail to adapt, you risk becoming a relic of the past. A memory of a time when your name was on everyone's lips and in everyone's pocket. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this trip down memory lane, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more stories about the giants of tech.